Good afternoon, everybody. I'd like to welcome you to EcoStage, powered by TLMI. We've had a wonderful day of speakers on a variety of topics, and we will also have more speakers tomorrow. You can take a look at our agenda on those panels in the back. Right now, we're going to learn a little bit about CELAB, Circular Economy for Labels. If you're not familiar, this is the place to be because we're going to learn all about it. We have two gentlemen here with us today. Chuck Williams, who is an Avery Dennison employee, who is a co-chair of the technical workforce in CELAB North America. And Brian Lawerence, who works for Henkel, who is the chairperson of communications for CELAB North America. So I'm going to hand it off to them, and we're going to learn all about CELAB.
Ooh. I don't think that was me. Okay, we're good. First of all, thanks Roz and TLMI for allowing Chuck and I the opportunity to talk a little bit about CELAB today. And you know, as we start here, I just want to talk a little bit about what CELAB is for those who may not be interested or understand what it is. So if you think about CELAB is a consortium of companies and some associations that are in the pressure-sensitive label industry. And you know, the interesting thing about what we do at CELAB is we are solely focused on sustainability, right? And focusing on the waste streams that come out of our industry. And if you think about, there's really two major waste streams that come out of our industry right now. One is liner backing. It could be either film or paper, siliconized liners. And then we also have label matrix. And all that we do is try to find solutions or identify solutions and outline a way for the industry to sustainably handle our waste. So if you look at the membership that we have, it was started about 2.5 years ago. And the names on the screen here, there's 22 of them that are a part of CELAB North America right now, and obviously we're looking to grow, so this is a great opportunity. I wanted to thank, once again, thanks Roz and TLMI for the opportunity to talk, for Chuck and I to talk today. So wanted to start talking a little bit about our mission, right? So if you look at our 2025 goal as a global goal, because there are right now two chapters that are active in CELAB. It's us in North America, and then we also have a European team of CELAB. We have some representation here by Jules over here. Maybe raise your hand, Jules, out of Europe, if there's anybody out of Europe that may want to talk. But so we've defined our goal for the 2025 mission is to have, it's about access to recyclability. We want to have 70% of the producers and users of our materials that come out of our industry, the pressure-sensitive label industry, to have access to recycling, right? And the thought being that, you know, if we have access to it and educate people on that particular process, that we'll start to do it and we'll get to move that forward. So we've been spending time working with recyclers, carriers and so forth that go through and trying to you know, move those parts forward. So we're going to get into that. Chuck and I are here. I'm going to talk about CELAB.
Here.
Sorry, little. Want to try it again? I'm going to keep going. I think we're good. I think we're good. I'm going to keep going. Maybe get farther away from the mic. Am I all right? Take another one. Excuse us for a little technology break here, guys. No problem. It's all right.
Tell some jokes.
All right. Sorry for the quick change here. So, you know, we talked about that mission, and I think if you think about it, the target is 70%. 70% of the industry manufacturers getting access to be able to recycle their liner or their matrix. So we'll talk a little bit more about that and the goals. Let's talk about the vision and the strategies here. So when we talk about being circular in this economy, right, we want to be able to use the product within itself. So we're looking mainly to try to avoid, in the US, we're trying to avoid landfill, right? We know that we have already got some solutions in place for our liners, for our paper and our filmic liners, but matrix is a pretty big challenge on where we go. I think the circular portion of label matrix we're going to get to. I mean, we're looking at potential fuel to waste to energy options with matrix as an outlet, with the ultimate goal of trying to get to circular. And we've got projects that we've worked on. We've actually funded through a consulting firm a project to explore opportunities globally for how we can handle label matrix waste and make it circular. So we're still working through that as a team, but that's another part of our goals and so forth that we have. And I think that one of the things about the industry and what we're trying to do in CELAB is leverage the weight of the people that are members, right? I had the brands up earlier, the names of the companies that are involved. There's a lot of big companies there, and figuring that there's a lot of market share, with the people that are in the team right now. And if we can leverage that and bring on maybe some more converters, I think converters is probably a voice that we're missing, in CELAB right now. But as a whole, leverage, the strength of our industry and to move this forward. I think that they'll probably have a better package and a better opportunity. And once again, our focus is on label liner waste, making sure that we have options out there for the end users, and then of course our converters that are coming up with a matrix. So those are the missions and where we're going with the mission. And going to just talk about our North American targets and where we are. So in 2019, we had AWA was commissioned to come up with a study and understand, give us the information on, how much of our liners and our label matrix are actually getting recycled. So the numbers came back. Really, we felt that on the paper side, the number came back as around 10% of our liner is recycled in North America as of 2019, and about 13% of the film liner was recycled. So if you think about that number, it's relatively low, and if you compare it to some of the other waste streams, it's pretty low. And we're basically industrial recyclers. This is all coming, really the consumers aren't recycling this. It's our industrial manufacturers that are basically finding ways to get rid of their waste. And our thought was, as we were trying to set our goal for North America as far as what the recycle rates should be, we said, okay, so our global goal is 70% of the manufacturers have access, right? To try to make sure that we can, outline and give options to the manufacturers in our industry, a place to send their waste. If we could do that to 70% of the market, if we could target 50% of that and come up with 35% recycle rate by 2025, we figured that was a good goal as a good start point in where we wanted to go. So, we have a baseline from 2019. Of course, we had COVID and so forth, and we'll see what happens after that. It hasn't been real good for the regular recycle rates. So, but I think that we probably have progressed through some of the things that we've been doing with each of our companies individually as we go forward. But as a group, we wanted to try to come back in 2023, sponsor another AWA report and get a good idea as to a yardstick as to where we're at. So we're hopeful that by the time that comes, we'll have a pretty good amount of movement in the positive direction. Keep our fingers crossed. If we've been doing our job, and as we work together and go forward, that's ultimately where we want to go. So that was my portion of the talk here. Chuck's going to take us through a few of the committees, and then we'll kind of cycle back and get together one last time. Thanks.
Sure. So our CELAB is broken up into 3 committees, and I'll talk a little bit about each and what we've done and what we're preparing to do. The first one is dear to me. It's the work stream that I'm associated with. It's a technical work stream, kind of the muscle of where we get things done here. And what we've been doing in the technical work stream, what our actual goals are to identify the real or really the perceived issues. There's a lot of perceived issues out there with liner. We've heard it from the end users that we can't use liner, or can't be done, can't do this. At first we thought it was the paper mills. The paper mills seemed to push back very, very hard, saying we can't use your recycled liner on the paper side. And they had been. They all know they had been. And that was a big pushback. But we've learned since then that they've come around to understand liners with some of the stuff that we've done. One of the things we're trying to do is provide education, of course, to not only to the paper mills, but also to the users, how to use the material, what to do with it. So if we go back to some of the things we've accomplished, this is a converting magazine, Converting Quarterly. An article just came out written by Dr. Tim Rummel, who's also the co-chair with me on the technical committee. He gave a presentation last year, and now it's turned into an article, where we looked at recycled container board and furnishing that material. We used the spent liner back into recycled container board. There was no negative effects, either on the performance or the attributes that everybody was looking for. So it looks very promising for us to have an outlet into recycled corrugated. And we all see that happening. There's been a big spike of recycled corrugated, of course, with Amazon and other places, so it's a natural fit. We also started looking at it as if we added it right to our natural paper waste, your office waste, because office waste, because of COVID, took a major drop. The paper mills were relying on that material for part of their broke, and now they weren't getting it. So how do we help retrofit that? And that's part of some of the work that's been ongoing. Another thing, we had a presentation at TAPI last year to talk about other areas we can use recycled fiber at. One of the other big areas is for tissue paper. So if you think about the tissue market, it's usually a white bleached material, very long fiber. Well, if you look at our liner, it's usually bleached and it's very long fiber. Perfect place for us to go and put it into. We've done some work and shown the industry that we can go and take it there. So that's part of what we've been doing from the technical side. If we look on to the next one, the recycled network stream. This group right there is identifying and establishing recycling networks. Now this is now where the bottleneck has come. We've had paper companies come to us and say, hey, we'd love to do some work with you. Give us a truckload of material and we'll take it from here. Well, to get a truckload of material seems to be a difficult thing, because we called people, we tried, we couldn't get a truckload of material to actually do the study. That's when we realized this is the bottleneck, and this is some of the problems that we need to work through. How do we work through that? But this group right now has done a pilot program in Chicago, where they've started to try to pull some materials together. They've also created a tool where you can get on and see where the local recyclers are who will take liner. So you can find it if you're Northeast or the Midwest, it's all on there. Another big one is ISRI. So it's the Institute for Scrap Recycling Industries. ISRI is kind of like the branding situation, where once you get an ISRI number, you can be sold as a commodity into recycling. Jim Shibley talked about this right before our talk, about the work that has been done here to get a code, and the code is the S37 code. So now with this S37 code, recycled liner is seen as it can go into the recycle system. It has a spec for it, has everything else behind it. And what made this so big was to get this code, we had to go through the paper manufacturers. The paper manufacturers were the ones that were on the board that said, yes, it's okay, we agree, this material can go back into commerce and come back into what we do. So this was a big win for us now to have this in the US. I think Jim put it well that, hey, it's great, we got this win, now we have to do something with it, right? We have the piece of paper that says you can recycle, or it is a recyclable commodity. Now we have to do it, and you heard Brian's numbers, they're not that good as of yet. The next group is Brian's. It's the communications work stream. Of course, we can do all the work we want to without getting the information out, whether it be at facilities like this, through the web or other media, to let people know that there is a recycling ability, or things happening within the label industry to recycle our liners on a daily basis. So they've been doing a good job trying to get things out, getting new articles out, and you'll see a lot more happening probably towards the end of this year as we move forward into this work. So where does this really take us? We're shifting away from earlier visions of working with the paper mills. Not that we're not going to go back and work with the paper mills, because there's still work to be done. What the paper mills need from us, from an industry, is they want to take our material, but they're not exactly sure how to use it. They use it today, they know they use it today, but they want a recipe. They want to know that if I have 5% or liner, I can use this, this, and this on my broke, and I get perfect paper performance each time. Or if I have 10%, I have to change my broke this way. So that's one of the things we'll be working with over the next year or so to help develop a recipe card for the paper industry to make it, we want to make it as easy as possible for them to say, yes, give it to me. They want it. It's a great, great material. We know that they want it. Working out with pulling in consultant services right now on the real key initiative. The key initiative is the logistics. Right? Transportation of spent liner and spent matrix waste is a big problem, and we need to look at the whole value chain, not just at the converter, but all the way through. Where are these pain points happening? Part of that pain point is collection in space. Not everybody can collect a whole truckload of material and wait to have it picked up. How do we get to a smaller commodity that can be picked up, agglomerated somewhere, and then brought onto into the paper industry? It takes everybody in the room to kind of help that work. We're working with a consultant who has actually done this for 2 other trade associations. And this is very powerful because they've been very successful at it. So now that we have them on our backing us up and helping us do the heavy lifting, this should happen. And then what comes out of that is the education of the entire value chain, so that everybody knows what their part is and how they can get involved and make it happen. And Brian kind of mentioned, we realized that all through this, converters were the ones that had the most pain. Well, converters have been kind of left out when you saw the initial number of people up front. So we want to get converters in. As of 2023, CELAB will have a converter, and US will have a converter level. So if you're a converter, you're interested, please come see Brian, myself. There's a meeting, I think you're going to talk about it, right?
Yep, absolutely. So Chuck, thanks a lot. I mean, and just to kind of pull this together, we could both stand up here if you want to, but this is just the last slide, and maybe we could take questions if we have it. So we are having a North American meeting of CELAB tomorrow at 1 o'clock. It's in one of the Avery conference rooms. It's on level 1, room number 9. And if there are converters out here that are interested and would like to attend and maybe learn a little bit more or understand how the meetings work, actually it'll be our first, believe it or not, because of COVID, it'll be our first North American meeting together. So bear with us as we walk through how it goes through. But you can certainly learn more about what's going on in CELAB if you're interested. And once again, as Chuck mentioned, we're working on a new level for converters, because we really need that voice at the other end. We've got the value chain on the supplier side. Now we need a little bit of that of the far the converting side of the industry. So I think that's really all that Chuck and I had about a quick overview. And once again, we'll be walking the show. Feel free to stop us, tap us on the shoulder, come to us at our booth, whatever. Love to have any type of discussion with anybody who's interested.